Hey guys, it's been a while. This is another episode of Yellow Socrates, and I'm Circo. You
This
guys
is
should.
Mr. Yo.
Okay,
And I'm Dr. J.
yeah. So in this episode, we're trying to talk about Black Mirror, season one, uh, episode one. I think the name was National Anthem, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct.
We're kind of late on this, but we still think that you know, it's thought provoking, and we thought it was a good topic to discuss. So we all watched it. We didn't watch it together, but we all watched it, and we're trying to see the aspect of Black Mirror and what the episode is trying to say. Anyway, how did you guys feel when you watched it?
When I first saw it, actually, I remember the first time seeing it. It was like pretty shocking, very provocative,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and like it was kind of like the pull factor to the series for new viewers, right? It's like pretty graphic. That's kind of like my memory.
Yeah.
Rewatching it again, it's like, yeah, I remember it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucked up. It's like who comes with this kind of terrorism, you know?
Right,
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
exactly.
It's not like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bomb the city or whatever. It's just
Uh-huh,
like,
uh-huh.
yeah, I'm gonna shame
Mm-hmm.
the whole country.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, right? Like the agenda of the terrorists was completely different from, what we kind
Right.
of view normally.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I don't know if we should treat this as a terror because it's not threatening people, it's just threatening one person, right? Would it be still considered terrorism?
I do think
Uh,
it's terrorism, though. It's not, you know, you say one person, but it's actually shaming the whole country. You know? Yeah, this is
Okay,
yeah,
your leader.
here's the definition of terrorism: the
Okay.
unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims.
the audience that they projected it to was like to the entire nation. It's projected to, every civilian. Like they were basically, I think, trying to portray like they were on top of the government.
Yeah.
They could make demands and make people from the highest level in the government do
Mm-hmm.
certain acts. And like that's a threat to national security. They could do it to anyone.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, what if, they were like, "Oh yeah, we want this person killed instead." Right? It's like showing
right.
the vulnerability of this figure, and what the country would do to save
Hmm.
Princess what was her name?
Hmm.
The Princess Duchess of Virginia or
Um,
something.
Susanna,
Susanna,
Susanna.
yeah, Susanna.
Susanna. Yeah, Susanna. Yeah, it was like a new kind of terrorism. It's the interesting thing is that I mean, if you watch whole Black Mirror, the theme is that technology is good, but it can look awesome, but there are other consequences. You should think about this, right? The whole
Right,
theme of the
right.
Black Mirror, and I
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
think episode one was one of the ones that we could relate to more because it's
Hmm.
kind of staged on our era, you know, the internet, the
Right,
TV, and everything. Um,
right, right. Definitely.
and it shows how powerful social media, YouTube, all those kind of
Hmm.
channels, all those kind of
Right.
internet
Hmm.
platforms can be used
Hmm.
in this way. Instead of, oh, I'm sharing my dog to everybody, it's more like,
Hmm.
yeah, I can't show you some shameful video, or I
Hmm.
can, basically destroy you with the information I have about you, right?
That's a very interesting point, right? Like with our generation, um, I think you can kind of construct like a way for people to think. Like you can actually persuade people to think a certain way. Like an example here is like, he basically shamed like the prime minister, right?
Yeah.
It's the
Hmm.
prime minister, yeah. And I mean, like it kind of like to relate to our society. Like Michael Jordan's the best basketball player ever,
Yeah.
but like kids nowadays remember him for like the crying face meme. I don't know if you guys seen that. Like the crying Michael Jordan.
Oh.
Like people see that and like that's how they view Michael Jordan now, like the younger generation. And it's like,
Mm.
Hmm.
people kind of can create these type of, imagery with because it's so easy to spread ideas now, and they're
Right.
not always good. And this might not be to that extent, but it's like I would say a kind of a message that it's so easy to kind of make propaganda and have people believe a certain thing, and it's crazy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy to incite people to
Mhm.
believe in something.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. All those fake news on
Yeah, like the
Facebook,
fake news
Twitter,
shit.
and
Exactly.
Right.
they
Yeah. Yeah.
still
That's
think that's a correct information. It's crazy.
yeah. That's great example.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I sometimes I don't know. I don't know if this is a skill I got from like going to college, but sometimes I try to screen some information I get from internet. It is really easy
Mhm.
to get the information, but it's hard to
Mhm.
say it's like a valid one.
Right. Exactly. You always want to cross-reference, but nobody does that shit.
Hmm.
Exactly. Not everybody
Mhm.
does it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the episode was more about how fast it can spread and how
Right.
fast
Right.
um
Uh-huh.
you know
Right.
basically
Mhm.
people have access to, and
Mhm.
you can never take it down basically because somebody in some world will download it
Yeah.
and somehow
Yeah.
just make it
Hmm.
keep it circulating. It's even on the episode I
Hmm.
think they tried to take the video of Susanna down, right? But they're
Uh-huh.
like, oh yeah, we
In a
keep
few
finding it.
minutes.
Yeah, it pops up again and again
Yeah.
and again. It's it's crazy. It's crazy. We can't.
Mhm.
Basically, it was showing that we can't really control, all the people on the internet. It's almost impossible. We do
Mhm.
have laws, but there are so many gray areas.
It, and it's interesting because like it kind of shows a bit of insight to humans and how much we kind of value the reception we get from the audience or like other people essentially. Like it's so essential for success how other people view you, and that's valued so much. And it kind of shows in this episode, like how one can become from like such a high ranking position to being kind of the laughing stock in like a matter of like couple
Yeah.
days. And it's just like trampling over that valley of being accepted and being like respected in a community that could disappear in a couple seconds. Michael Jordan, best basketball player of all time, now he's like the crying face meme. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
insane. Like it's like, yeah. So
Because everybody sees it, right? It's just like
right.
you upload one thing and it goes viral, and
Exactly.
everybody knows that face.
Mhm.
Oh man, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. You
Mhm.
can always benefit from it.
Yeah,
You
I
can
think that's
get
what
hurt by it.
regulars trying to say. Like
Yeah,
all their episodes are provoking uh, that notion that the technologies are, sometimes good, but can be used really bad also.
yeah.
Right.
The two
Hmm.
sides, the two faces of technology,
Right,
basically.
right. Two sides of coin.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. It's just. I love that we're in this information era, or age,
Uh-huh.
whatever it is. Like it's so easy to get any kind of information. I I think I don't know if it's still up, but I think my one of my friend was jokingly saying, "Oh yeah, you can learn how to make nuclear bomb on YouTube." It's just like it's out there, you know.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Like any kind of like dangerous information.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
comes from like, oh, how to raise a baby or how to raise a cat, and it goes to like, oh, how to do this and do this dangerous
Mhm.
thing, like this dangerous knowledge. Just
Mhm.
hmm
everybody
how to
just
build a bomb, how to
yeah,
make drugs out of
yeah.
cough drops. I don't know.
It's
Yeah. How to
crazy.
make a gun 3D printed. It's
I mean,
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
we're not promoting those acts
Mhm.
right now, but
Mhm.
it's just crazy
Mhm.
that people have
Yeah.
So
access to
then
it.
the question is, should we regulate it? Should
I
we
I
do
don't
regulate the
think
know if it's
informations?
sufficient to regulate it. I think,
Efficiency, okay. Maybe we
yeah.
can
efficiency
have
wise, that's hard.
efficient
Actually, I
Yeah.
kind of want to
percent.
hear what you guys think. Like, if you guys think there's a solution.
I mean, I do think it's impossible to regulate it first of all,
Yeah.
I see.
and I don't know. Morally, I don't know if it's right to regulate it
Cen-
because if you think about it, it can be a form of freedom of speech.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
So, well, sometimes freedom of speech can be regulated in
Yeah.
certain circumstances, and I think that also can be applied in this situation. But generally,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe shouldn't be
Shouldn't.
regulated.
Mhm.
Okay. In my opinion, it should be regulated because there's
Mhm.
freedom of speech and all that, but
Hmm
I think nothing triumphs security. We're always trying to balance those two, right?
Mhm.
hmm
After 9/11, we had Patriots Act, and our kind of freedom or privacy kind of got invaded
hmm
somehow. But I mean, I'm not siding with the um, Patriot Act or siding with other places, but I do think security is like an issue, you know.
Like
Mhm.
China.
Yeah, I mean, like all your private information can be just exposed to all the
Is it
people.
because of that, or because there are other harmful informations out there that can
That
cause
too.
some kind of harm to
That too.
you and to the public?
Yeah, that too.
And what do you think about Chinese government regulating their internet access to their people?
I do think it's weird. Like I don't know why they're censoring so much of it. I heard that
Well, you know why, but we all know why
I
they're
yeah, we do
censoring.
know why, but I feel like it's too far. Is what I would say
It's too
It's
because
too
extreme.
far. Well,
Mm.
yeah, that's true. Okay.
yeah, think about it. What America makes America great is that we can say whatever we want, right? We can say
Mhm.
something bad about political
Mhm.
figures or like any kind of act somebody else
Mhm.
does, right? So that
Mhm.
we can try to fix the problem within, right? But I
Right.
think what China is doing is that they're not even giving an opportunity to do that. I'm pretty sure there are
Mhm.
people still like talking about it and all that, but
Mhm.
you know,
For the
I
most
heard
part,
that.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I heard that the Chinese leader right now, right? Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping.
Yeah. People are saying, oh, he looks like Winnie the Pooh, right?
Mhm.
The next day, you couldn't search Winnie the Pooh on Baidu.
Mhm.
It's
Mm.
like too far. Like, y- just
Mhm.
because somebody made
Uh-huh.
fun of you, you're just like,
Uh-huh.
we can't have this. Like, no,
Yeah.
no more Winnie the Pooh on
Yeah.
Baidu.
That's
Like,
that's too much.
it's weird. It's
That's too
like to the
much.
extent that
Uh-huh.
it's too far. Like we can't even
Yeah,
say a joke, basically.
right. I mean, if it that makes you wonder like how much control the government then has on like basically nowadays the best way to get information is, internet. And if they have that
Right.
much control, they could do some political agenda and actually sway votes depending on search results.
Yeah,
Or
like
I'm
Facebook.
just giving examples,
I
but
mean,
that's
yeah.
just
I
too
mean,
much
yeah.
power, you know. That's just too much regulation and
Totally
um
possible though.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with both of you guys on that. Like some regulation probably, like anything hate crime or anything like dangerous probably should get censored, but not like manually. It should be kind of automated. But for the most part, like internet should be a very free speech platform, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just based on now. It's like based on people's morals. Morals are so subjective, but it's important to kind of educate people at least basic values. You know, there's consequences to
Mhm.
calling someone or defaming someone, and people should recognize that before they start some shit. But if they're okay with the consequences, yeah, why not? Just get ready for a lawsuit. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
completely fine. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think that makes the internet kind of what it is and what it's powerful and it's working. But yeah, too much regulation's usually never a good thing.
Mm.
It's gonna be like deculturalization of China, like back in the day, just burning books.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an extreme example, but once you control education and information that way, it's never a good result from historic past.
Perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, that's true. You know, all the book burning is, yeah, it's like
It's
trying to
pure
control too
censorship
much, you
too.
know. Censorship could
Exactly.
be good, right?
Hmm.
Like, you know,
A certain degree, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
like what TV does sometimes, you know. Oh,
Yeah, news
don't promote,
networks.
yeah, don't promote
Uh-huh.
violence to kids. So
Mhm.
we need censorship. That's why we have like
Mhm.
TV ratings, right?
Right,
For
right.
kids, yeah, yeah.
For kids.
Yeah, it's good in some way, but
Mhm.
Mhm.
where do we find the balance, you know? Security and freedom of speech.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
always hard. Like I feel like nobody has the answer to that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It, I might be diverging the point here, but I feel like future generations, because they're so accessible, like information is so accessible, like all the taboo things, you know, traditional households kind of like delay to teaching their kids like sexual education and like even political standpoints. That's so accessible for like teenagers. They just go to their phone and look it up, and it's just too
Yeah.
much information. Like I wonder how future generations will take that, and like how parents will take that. You know, I wonder. It's kind of interesting. Is this like
Mm.
completely change of culture at that point?
Yeah,
There's no
yep.
protection layer. It's just like full on.
Mhm.
The kids can know whatever they want to know, and is that a good thing or bad thing? It's like always subjective, but it's interesting. You know, it's different from how we grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely, yeah. I agree.
one thing that's sure is that right now it's almost immutable. It like Susanna's
Hmm.
video, right?
Yeah.
It's just immutable. It's out there all the
True.
time.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like I think people are trying to regulate it, but um,
Hmm.
it's we can't.
Yeah.
We can't.
It's just you just can't. Yeah, it's too hard.
There's dark web and all that, right? Those
Right.
crazy YouTube stories about it. That's,
Uh-huh.
you know, all the stories I heard from for dark web, like the YouTube story
Uh-huh.
that our friend
Uh-huh.
like showed us. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's crazy. Like the crazy thing, it's just out there, and it's anybody
Hmm.
can have access to it.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I keep repeating myself, but it's, you know, that's just
I think
how
that's
it
the
is.
point of the episode as well. That's kind of one of the main points. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
As for like the story of the first episode, like what do you guys think? Like, because when I was watching it, the main character or the prime minister I view as the main character, he made a huge sacrifice, but in the end,
He
he's
does
just a
it, yeah.
laughing stock. He's just ridiculed, and his wife wouldn't even like recognize him. You know, like
I know
acknowledge.
that's
Yeah,
really
Yeah.
sad.
The wife
it's like
was
in
like,
a
"Oh
story
man."
perspective, it's like so sad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
He has
wife
a
sees him
person.
as a pig, you know,
Yeah.
not a
Yeah,
like
she's like,
not even a person. Man, did you see that?
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
But he
She's
saved a
so
life.
disgusting.
Like he saved the princess. It's
I
crazy.
know, and saved a lot of like a big value, you know,
Mhm.
of the
Yeah,
country,
yeah.
and still he gets
Uh-huh.
that from his wife. Oh my
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
gosh, man.
That's scary.
He's
I
he's
feel
Yeah,
like
like a hero, but
yeah.
disgraced
denied
hero.
by his own
Uh-huh.
family.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's I feel like that can happen so easily, right? Like nowadays, like Albert said, this
Yeah.
is relevant. I totally agree. Like I feel like a story like this can always happen. Like someone does something heroic, but it could be just easily ridiculed at the same time, you know?
It's crazy.
Like that Elon Musk where he's trying to save like the kids that are stuck in that cave in I think was it Singapore or it's like some of the Southeast Asian country.
Yeah.
And there's like this feud about with him and like one of the cave rescuers with like he's calling him a pedophile and the
I know.
story just
Oh
It
became
yeah.
went
like
viral and
ridiculous. Yeah, viral. It just became a joke. And like that could happen.
Yeah.
Maybe not as relevant, but like it's kind of an example that shows how much influence like social media has, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I think one other factor that promotes that is anonymity. Like
Mm.
your name is not there.
Mhm.
You don't put social
Mhm.
security number on, YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Exactly.
my place. This is where I live, and come fight me. Like nobody does that. It's
Yeah,
just like
nobody does that. Yeah,
hiding behind the
exactly.
screen.
Yeah.
It's just oh yeah. I mean, we kind of knew who the terrorist was in the
Mhm.
episode, but
Mhm.
people didn't know who he was. I mean, he killed
Yeah.
himself after, but kind of got the justice out of it, I guess. But it was like a weird justice. He killed
Yeah,
himself,
he was in
and we didn't really,
control like the entire
yeah,
time. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And
crazy.
nobody knows where Susanna was. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, what people can do in anonymity is also like scary.
Mhm.
I, I don't know if you guys heard, but like some of the celebrities in Korea like killed themselves because of the
say it again.
comments. Like Korean celebrities, they couldn't take the comments that
Oh, and
uh
kill her. Was it her or him?
yeah, herself. And one of
Mm.
you guys remember Me Too movement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the actor also killed himself because
Mm.
he was
His harass.
exposed by Me Too. I mean,
Ah.
I'm not saying bad things about Me Too, but like
Mhm.
as soon as that happened, like people just
Uh-huh.
can't take it. Like people take it
Yeah.
personally, and it
Uh-huh.
was like a sensitive issue. He
Yeah, exactly.
was the bad guy in the Me Too
Mhm.
um, movement. He was the
Mhm.
raping kind of person, but
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm.
as soon as that's exposed, he just killed himself.
Mhm. That's actually really interesting because like nowadays the big problem is political identity, right? Like
Yeah,
it's so easy to find a group of like-minded people on the internet, right? It's because
yeah,
accessibility is so easy. And then it just becomes like a witch hunt. You have like your own kind of group, you feel safe, and then you do crazy shit with them, and you don't really feel that much repercussions because there's a entire community backing you up. So like that it happens a lot in most liberal and like complete political correctness kind of atmospheres,
yeah,
but like
Hmm.
there's a lot of kind of like political identity people seek, and they like Me Too is kind of like that, but like I can imagine like even they could point out some person that didn't commit a crime and they'll still be like witch hunted. I mean, that's
yeah,
totally
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. That's the
Like I'm just
downside of it.
yeah, I'm not saying that happened, but it could. That's totally
That could happen.
reasonable. I
Yeah.
feel like
Totally. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah. I mean, like,
and like
not that I don't know. It's really a hard topic when we come to like Me Too, right? But I do feel like you didn't have to do that. You could have just gone through it with him. Actually sue him instead of like, hey everybody, he's a
mm,
rapist.
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
even though he's a
Yeah.
bad guy, he also has a family and reputation and all that. Like, why did you
Mm,
have to like
yeah.
actually give him all like actual witch hunt? Like,
Mhm.
and how would we know as like someone who would just look at Twitter and say, did he actually
Mhm.
do it? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. If you think about it, as a single individual, you have no power to accuse someone who has power already, right? Just
Mhm.
in your case, I mean, we don't know if that person's the witch or not, but
Yeah.
no one knows the truth actually.
Nobody
But
knows the truth.
what
Yeah.
what
Mhm.
what they're trying to do is to gather people to gather more power
Mhm.
to overcome the weakness of a single individual.
Mm.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so and this can be used really good way, just like how Koreans overthrow through the government a few years back,
Mhm.
The
and
corrupted one. Yeah.
yeah, it was the internet which made it possible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Without
Also in
it,
the
like
Middle
with
East, right?
yeah. Well, you
Mhm.
can find many good examples of uh, good use of the internet.
Mhm.
So yeah, we cannot say it's all bad. I mean, I
Mhm.
think we all agree on that, but still, I just wanted to point it out.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
It,
just like a knife. Like you can use it to cook something, or you can use it to kill someone. It's
That.
like
Yeah.
it's just a tool. It's just
Right.
how we use it matters,
Mhm.
basically.
And like it to summarize, it's basically more power to the civilians, right?
Yeah, I
It's
think
just
it does.
like, yeah. Now it's just like, how to use the power.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah, we gotta have a. We have to think critically. We have to, you know, sick of just following what people say.
yeah,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's really interesting topic to think about, and if we had time, it'd be amazing to, just talk about it overnight.
yeah.
Mm.
Uh,
Anyway, I think it was overall interesting to talk. Like the power of the internet, right? We
Right,
talked about power of
exactly.
the internet through this Black Mirror episode, like what they showed us. Instead of
Mhm.
internet has all the information. Instead of
Mhm.
that, Black Mirror National Anthem episode one, um, it showed us that yeah, it could be used to destroy someone too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy in that sense. Do you guys have any other comments about the show or the episode?
The
What?
show.
Yeah.
Maybe about the show, I think it's a very important part. Like I'm very glad that they're making these kind of shows. Because like ethics and technology has always been kind of a very iffy gray area. Like nobody really thinks about these things or considers them. Like right now, Facebook has a lot of big companies. Google as well have a lot of issues with like privacy issues, and these kind of topics should be more of a common discussion place.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
technology is gonna advance, so we better sort this shit out. If we want to have a proper safe environment,
Yeah,
that kind
before
of
it gets out of hand.
exactly, exactly. So I think it's a great show.
What about you, Dr. J? Do you have anything else to
uh,
say?
yeah, I agree with Mr. Yo that it's a great show. It provokes many thoughts, and you know, it it makes us discuss about it, right? I think that's really
Yeah,
good part of it.
yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Anyway, guys, I think it's time for us to go. So, we'll meet you guys with the next episode of Black Mirror, which is. Do you guys know what the next episode is? Well, what was it called?
I forgot.
Um, I forget too.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean we're gonna watch it
I
anyway,
think it
so
was about the thing that you can Rewind Memories? Was it the second one?
It's called the 15 Million Merits.
15 million
Um,
merits. Was it the you live in a TV box kind of thing?
I think so. I
Well, we
Mm.
think,
can talk about it next time.
yeah,
Anyway,
anyway, we can bring it up again.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that next time, and we'll see you guys next time. Okay, I was Sarko.
This is Mr. Yo.
And this was Dr. J. Thank you very much.